Shalom, when the self souls by giving no praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahshua, Ba'ashem Kwakudash, double honors to the apostle, great most, and honors you brothers doing the work of the Most High in truth and in sincerity. Yahweh's real name, of whom the world English calls God, Jehovah, Yahweh. His real name is Yahweh. His on-screen name is Yahweh Shai, and when we pray Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahshua, Ba meaning in, meaning that, and Sham meaning names Yahweh, and the name of Yahweh Shai. Real quick, this one is inspired. I was just thinking, and basically was along the lines of, just pray for it. I was like, you making excuses, this and the other. I was like, yeah, but you can just pray for it. I was like, oh yeah, shit, yeah. Certain weaknesses that we may have, for instance, right now, man to man, my attention ain't what it used to be, right? Staring at screens, all the time and stuff like that. It does, it does a number on your attention span, or so they say, right? I've heard that somewhere, right? So I was like, I wish I had a bit more of an attention span, right? And the spirit was just there, like, just pray for it, right? So I thought I'd put together, a lesson, because we all have certain things, certain things, that we would like to improve on, but we must not needs forget to pray, right? Not only praying for things that we want, but also praying to give thanks to the Most High as well, right? So I'm just gonna get some scriptures on prayer and stuff like that. I see where the Spirit leads. So this is Philippians 4:6. It says, "Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, right? With thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto the Most High." Right. So, and all it is ultimately is a show of faith, right? Because at the end of the day, in fact, let's load these up real quick. I'm trying to remember how. Yeah, so this is Matthew 6:8. It says, "Be not ye therefore like unto them, for your Father knoweth what things you have need of before you ask him," right? But still wants you to pray, right? Just as a just as a show of faith, right? And it's certainly something that helps build up our faith, in these last days. We've all had experiences where we put up a prayer, right, and then the Lord answers that prayer, right, and that is going to be some of the stability that the scriptures speak about, right, in Isaiah 33:6, right. That's going to be there to comfort us, right, because we're going to be in who knows what kind of situations, but we're going to have that track record of, what I remember the time when I was in straits and I prayed to the Lord, and the Lord delivered me out of that situation, or the Lord allowed me X, Y, and Z, right, that I needed at that particular time. Okay, and then we will have all of those things to kind of pull up on, right? Because once again, ultimately, the Lord already knows. The Lord already knows. It's a show of faith, right? And it helps to build up our faith. Plus, we've been commanded to do it, right? So we must needs do it, right? It says Hebrews 11:6. It says, "But without faith, it is impossible to please him." Right? "For he that cometh to the Most High must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him." Okay, so the Lord, he needs that faith, man, right? Not needs that faith. Let me not phrase it like that. He requires that faith. Okay, once again, it's just the Lord gave us the analogy of we're His woman, right? And there's certain things you kind of want to see your woman do, right? Regardless of whether you was gonna do it anyway, right? Regardless if you knew she wanted it anyway, you still want certain what do you call certain actions and behaviors, okay, right? So excuse me, you just got a little something, and even on that, right? Because one of the precepts was gonna get, right. I remember, which called not a couple of months back, man, I was through, right? And then the Spirit was just like, yeah, so like why ain't you put a prayer request in the chat? I'm like, man, you idiot. And that's the thing in this flesh, right? Certain times, right? We can forget the basics, right? Prayer is one of the basics, right? This is Sirach 38:9. It says, "My son, in thy sickness be not negligent, right? But pray unto the Lord, and he will make thee whole," right? So that's straight into the point, right? In thy sickness, pray unto the Lord, because ultimately it's just demons and spirits, right? And the example being when Yahweh Shai rebuked Peter's mother-in-law, I think. Yeah, Peter's mother-in-law's fever. The Lord was like, nah, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Let me just grab it. Right. This is something like that. This is Matthew 8:14. And when Yahushua was coming to Peter's house, he saw his wife's mother laid and sick of a fever, and he touched her hand, and the fever left her, and she arose and ministered unto them. Right? So the Lord just rebuked the fever, man. The fever was like, oh shit, and dipped. Right? And that's what ultimately is prayer is important. Right? We can't forget that. We can't neglect prayer. Right? Hey, if we can pray some more, how about that? It says, so yeah, we read this in Philippians, right? So we're going to grab this, and it says, as a precept to that, it says Psalms 55:22, "Cast thy burden upon Yahweh, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved," right? So once again, when, we're going through it, right? When whatever it is, right? It's something that that we need, right? It was burden, not burden a lot, yeah. And properly, what is given, a lot burden, right? Basically, pray to the Lord, right? Pray to the Lord, and the Lord will make a way, right? The Lord will give you an answer, right? But one of the things as well is understanding that sometimes that answer may come in the example of like no, right? This is Corinthians 12 and 7. It says, "And lest I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. For this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, I will rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Mashiach, Yahushua Mashiach, may rest upon me." Right? So basically, who's like, look, man, you asked for it, but I ain't gonna give it to you, because actually this is an important part for your walk, right? We think about, and I think about this sometimes in terms of like the curses, which we must needs not neglect, sending up curses, man, right? On this world, but also on people that harm us, right? It really helps to calm that that carnal response to certain things. So you're always going to get people trying you. You're always going to get people trying you, but if it doesn't need to get carnal, it don't need to get carnal, right? You can just put curses upon them, right? But if you've ever noticed that certain people, you put up curse on them, you put a request in the chat, right? And then guess what? Before you know it, Akim are, posting, follow-up messages like, "Yo, yeah, hey, guess what happened to my man? My man got messed up, just, but what does that do? That, builds up all of our faith. But there are certain people where it's seemingly like they're just a thorn, they're just there, right? But, and then when I say this, I speak as a man, right? But certain times, just like, yeah, those are just people that are there for for as part of your lot, just to be that thorn in your side, to be that hindrance, right? To to be a reason why we hate this place, okay? And that's sometimes it's just that simple, right? So it's not like the Lord don't answer. The Lord gives you the answer you need. Right? It's very, very, very different. Not necessarily what you want, but certainly what you need, right? So let's read that again. Psalms 55:22. "Cast thy burden upon Yahweh, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. All right. And we've got an example here. It says Luke 18 from the top, rather parable here, right? It says, and he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray and not to faint, saying, there was in a city a judge, which feared not the Most High, neither regarded man. Right, and there was a widow in that city, and she came unto him, saying, avenge me of mine adversary. Right, and he would not for a while, but afterward he said within himself, thou fear not the Most High, nor regard man, yet this widow troubleth me. Like, you imagine someone just, I think they call this the importunate widow, right? Someone just, getting, just trying, please, and eventually, all right, all right, cool, I'll do it, and then, yeah, hold on, I'm just pulling up the definition, right, on me other screen, right, move to another tab. Right, you see here, right, importunate, persistent, especially to the point of annoyance, right? So she was important. She was persisting, until eventually, this particular this in this parable, it's like, all right, cool, man, I'll do it. All right, so let's read that verse 5 again. Yet because this widow troubleth me, I'll avenge her, lest by her continual coming she weary me. And the Lord said, hear what the unjust judge saith. Right? So basically giving the let me carry on. It says, and shall not the Most High avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them. Right? So that's it. Right? What the Lord is basically saying, that, like, look, man, you got this example of this wicked guy. He did what was asked of him because it was getting annoying. But then, so if the wicked's gonna behave like that, how about in righteousness? Right, we pray unto the Lord. Right, the Lord will do what it is that we ask, but we've got to ask in faith. Right, which leads us nicely into the next precept, right? This is James 1, 5 and 6. It says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of the Most High, that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. Right? So we gotta ask. When we want to grow in the spirit, we gotta ask. We want more wisdom and understanding, we gotta ask for it. Okay? It says, but let him ask in faith, not wavering, for he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea driven with the wind and tossed. Right, so we've got to ask in faith. Okay, it says on the same point. Right, it says Mark 11, 24 and 25. It says, therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Okay. It says, and when ye stand praying, right, forgive if ye have aught against any, that your Father also which is in heaven may forgive your trespasses. Right. So basically, coming, not excuse my French. I'll sanitize it. Not being a ninja, right, and then praying, basically, right. Scriptures is heavy on on brotherhood and being good amongst the brotherhood, but amongst the brethren. This is Psalms 145 and 18. It says, the Lord Yahweh is nigh unto all that call upon him, to all that call upon him in truth. Right? And then Hebrews 4:16, let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in the time of need. Because especially now, right, we're coming into that time of need. Right, we're gonna need, we're gonna need the Lord. I can try to say it another way, but the crux of it was, we're gonna need the Lord. Right? We're gonna need salvation, right? Because this is as it says in Daniel 12th chapter, Jeremiah 30, right? Revelation was it 3:10 or 2:10, right? But basically, at 2 16, around from 70, right? We're gonna need help in these last days. Okay, So we're gonna have to come. We're gonna have to ask, believing, right? We're gonna have to pray without ceasing. 1 Thessalonians 5:17. Pray without ceasing, right? You got an example here. What Daniel used to do. He says he's doing it 3 times a day, right? We'll read it real quick. Daniel 6:10. Now, when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being opened in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks his before Yahweh as he did aforetime, right? And then goes into how that basically ended Daniel up in the den of lions. Okay, and this here is a comfort, right? And in fact, before I get there, we'll end on that one, right? And before I get there, you got the example of the song of the three children, right? Which is when I forget the Hebrew, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? They were cast into the fire, right? But what were they doing? They were praying, they were praising, right? So I'll just read the first couple, but we can read it in your leisure, right? Song of the Three Children, or Prayer of the Three Children. But yeah, Song of the Three Children says, from the top says, and they walked in the midst of the fire, praising the Most High and blessing the Lord. Then Azariah stood up and prayed on this manner, right? And opening his mouth in the midst of the fire said, Blessed art thou, O Lord, power of our fathers. Thy name is worthy to be praised and glorified forevermore, right? And then just to end with a precept of comfort, right? He says Tobit 12:15. It says, I am Raphael, one of the 7 holy angels, which present the prayers of the saints and which go in and about before the glory of the Holy One, right? So, these prayers, they're not just in vain. Like, our prayers are being heard, right? So we must needs pray, right? And if we lack anything, in fact, we'll read that again. Philippians 4:6. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your request be made known unto the Most High, right? And you go and have holy angels carrying those messages, man. So as always, Lord's with us edifying. Till next time we say Shalom.